Succession Season 4 continues to supply me with content I did not foresee, because Marriage Story 2 just dropped. I guess Noah Baumbach wrote this episode because we got an explosive failing marriage scene that literally stole the whole episode. Something I think most Succession fans have been waiting for is a real Tom versus Shiv argument where they can talk out their shit. I mean, let's be honest, this marriage has been on the downturn since it started. To me, it's kind of a bad omen when someone drowns in a river on your wedding night. Perhaps not the best start to a marriage now that I think about it. With Shiv versus Tom becoming the main event last night, I wanted to take a little bit of a deeper look into what went on in that Thunderdome to see if perhaps we can declare a winner. Before we get into it, let's just do a quick little refresh on the relationship timeline. The only knowledge we have of Tom and Shiv before the show is, if I remember correctly, both Tom and Shiv were on vacation in some, I think, European place, and Tom actively pursued Shiv while on vacation and after, which led to Shiv dating him. As far as I know, and as far as I could find, that's all we got on their timeline prior to the show. When the show starts, Tom and Shiv are dating, where Tom proposes to Shiv in episode 2, then in episode 10 of season 1, they get hitched. Things get off to a rocky start when Shiv asks Tom if she can
maybe also demand to gobble the odd side dick.
Then after about a season of gobbling, Tom tells her he ain't a hippie, and this side gobbling needs to stop. We also have Tom in season 2 being scared of going to prison, where Shiv essentially don't give a hoot. She helped offer him up as a Tom Sunday in the season 2 finale. Then in season 3, they do a little dirt and grime talk where Tom feels like Shiv told him she didn't love him, which then leads to the season 3 finale where Tom betrays Shiv to Logan. In season 4, they're unofficially separated, which leads to last night's episode. From the beginning of their relationship, we can see the dynamic between the two is causing problems. Tom does really love Shiv, but he does rely on her heavily to keep his spot in the company and get ahead. I have no idea if Shiv loves Tom. I tend to lean on the side she don't love him, and for the sake of the video, that's what we're going with. What I do know, though, is Shiv loves Tom's subservient nature and that he idolizes her, which is why a small-time fella from Minnesota is even able to start a relationship with her in the first place. I mean, right here, most people would be like, that don't sound like it's gonna work. In a relationship where the love only goes one way and both use each other for personal gains, that ain't gonna work. Now what you all clicked on this video for, let's get into breaking down the argument of episode 7, season 4. In a way, this big blowout argument was originally started by Tom when he gave Shiv the scorpion. You could argue it's just one of their weird ways of messing with each other, but very obviously Shiv was offended. And Shiv's retaliation tactic is to tell everyone Tom is getting fired, which then gets Tom angry that she's telling everyone that. Tom attempts to stop the argument before it happens by using the "I'm tired" excuse. But what really kicks it off is when Shiv brings the conversation back to herself instead of saying, you know what, you're right, I shouldn't have been telling people that. She comes back with,
I am just worried about, maybe I've nailed myself to the Matson cross and he might turn out to be bullshit. He's erratic and maybe he isn't real.
At this point in their relationship, he's completely tired of his problems being pushed away by Shiv anytime he tries to talk about something. Even though Tom has always had a goal of riding Shiv's coattails to the top, he's always helped plan for both of them. He viewed them as a team while Shiv viewed Tom as a tool.
At this party here, there are maybe 40 of the most important people in America, and you have just walked all around all evening telling them all that I'm going to get fired.
No, it was implied, lightly, as a little part of a tactical kind of joke.
When Tom attempts to talk about him being used as a tool again, and Shiv constantly putting him down and using him as a theoretical step stool, she again tries to defend it and bring it back to herself.
Should we have a real conversation?
With a scorpion?
That was
No.
a friendly thing.
Oh,
That was
yeah,
a friendly
sure.
thing.
You're real friendly. No, you're a fucking snake. Here's a dead snake to wear as a necktie, Tom. Why aren't you laughing?
The scorpion from earlier is brought up where, despite Tom trying to defend it, it very obviously was a passive-aggressive fuck you to Shiv. But Shiv calling him a snake hurts Tom enough to where the argument takes a more verbal volatility. Because to him, being called a snake after constantly being there for Shiv and constantly being her step stool is such a gut shot that he feels he needs to come back with something just as bad.
I think that you can be a very selfish person, and I think you find it very hard to think about me.
What?
And I think you shouldn't have even married me, actually.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
What the actual fuck? You proposed to me? You proposed to me in my lowest fucking ebb.
So he goes for the hard truth, which is that he feels she doesn't care for him at all and probably shouldn't have gotten married to him. In Shiv's defense though, Tom did propose at a weird ass time. Who's like, oh yeah, your dad's dying? Trying to get married? Though I don't necessarily believe that Shiv is such a kind-hearted and nice person that she felt bad about hurting Tom's feelings by saying no.
You were only with me to get to power. Well, you got it now, Tom. You've got it.
I'm with you because I love you!
Bullshit!
When Tom says this, I believe him, because besides selling her out to Logan, there isn't really anything to refute this. In this way, Shiv is just like Logan, where,
He never saw anything he loved that he didn't want to kick it just to see if it would still come back.
which is exactly how Shiv treats Tom.
You're fucking me for my DNA. You were fucking me for a fucking ladder because your whole family is striving and parochial.
That's not a fair characterization.
That is not a fair representation. Those things are certainly involved, but they aren't the main motivations for Tom being with her.
You betrayed me.
You were going to see me get sent to fucking prison!
Yeah.
And you won't have my baby!
Her face right here after he said that is spectacular. I'm surprised she didn't just tell him, you gonna be a papa soon.
You offered to go to jail, Tom.
He offered to go to jail thinking she would have his back and wouldn't end up going. Though to be fair, she did slightly argue against him when he offered himself up.
Offer myself up as the beating post.
No, honey. You can't. No.
Who you are, Shiv, is that fucking
Oh,
thing.
yeah? You read that in
Yeah.
a book, Tom?
You're too fucking transparent to find in a book.
Not only a great insult, it's completely right. Since Tom has been on the offensive this whole conversation, he's been able to not have Shiv just talk about herself the entire time.
And I think you are maybe not a good person to have children.
First her mom and now Tom. This dynamic duo of rhyming words says she shouldn't have kids, and that's the final straw. It hurts even more since she's most likely pre-gat.
I'm sorry, but you have hurt me more than you can possibly imagine.
Again, I believe the sorry's here because it's very obvious that Tom wanted to have kids with Shiv.
I would want you to have my babies if I died.
You can see right before he says it, he hesitates because he's not sure if he wants to say that. But at this point, he just doesn't care anymore because her inability to care about anything but herself and her own problems has become so suffocating to him that he just feels like he has to say it.
You took away the last 6 months I could have had with my dad.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
The truth is, the only person who's responsible for the time taken away from her and Logan is Logan. If Logan wasn't such a despicable old man who was jealous of the lives he gave his kids and wasn't constantly trying to beat them, then maybe Shiv wouldn't have tried to do what she did. And the last 6 months might not have been 6 months. It could have been years.
It's not my fault that you didn't get his approval. I have given you endless approval, and it doesn't fill you up because you're broken.
Probably my favorite part of this scene because it encapsulates their relationship in a sentence. Shiv tries to bring the conversation back to herself and how she's the victim, but Tom ain't having it because he has worshipped her constantly over their relationship, yet the only thing she wants is her dad's approval and affection, just like the rest of them. And what Shiv, Kendall, Roman, and Connor all need to learn is that no matter what they did, it never would have been enough. Even though Logan's gone, that doesn't change anything because they're still in that hole that Logan put them in.
I don't even care about you. I don't care.
I don't believe her.
You don't deserve me, and you never did.
Truth is, the only person Shiv deserves to be with is herself, because that seems to be the only person she cares about. You look at Roman and Kendall, they obviously aren't perfect, but it's obvious they care about people in their lives and think about other people. And even though they aren't good at showing it, if you look, it's there. With Shiv, it's just not.
And everything came out of that. Oof. So fucking flat.
After that great final blow from Shiv, who won? And the answer is neither. But Tom, kind of. Sure, I agree with pretty much everything Tom said against Shiv. That's not what he wanted. He wants things to work out with Shiv, so this argument ending like it did could very likely be their final conversation as a married couple. And that's not a win for him. It's not a win for Shiv either, because as tough as she tries to act, she now feels as though she's absolutely alone. No one is on her side. She thought maybe she had Madsen, but he turned out to be a little kooky. But what do you guys think? Who the heck won? And what do you think about this kind of video? If you liked it, please feel free to like the video and maybe even subscribe. If not,
Get the fuck out of my house now.